We are at CPAC talking about the medical device tax and the Affordable Care Act. Would you tell us a little bit about your opinion on the medical device tax and how it
Sure.
works?
I run Americans for Tax Reform. We ask all candidates to make a written commitment to their voters that they'll oppose and vote against all efforts to raise taxes, and that includes the medical device tax. Good news is nobody broke their pledge. The bad news is there are enough Democrats in the House and Senate they were able to pass it with just Democrat votes. This is a 2.3% tax on sales of medical devices. It makes the cost of medical devices more expensive. Now, Obamacare was supposed to drop the cost of health care to the American people. They hide this tax in there, so it's difficult to see. And it raises the cost of health care. And the government goes, that wasn't me. It really is completely dishonest, the opposite of what Obama says he's going to do. And how do you raise taxes on the provision of health care and then announce that you're dropping the cost of health care?
It doesn't make healthcare more affordable to raise taxes on everything a doctor uses.
Yes.
Now, also, since
they also tax insurance companies and all sorts of hospitals and so on. So there are many taxes on various parts of healthcare, all of which drive the price up.
Now, as far as we've seen a real decrease in employment since the Affordable Care Act has passed, the fact that they put a law in that said if you have less than 50 employees, do you think that that encouraged employers to drop employees to get below the mandated levels?
We know that in Europe, where they have rules that say more than 50 people, all these different rules apply, under 50 they don't. The people organize to keep their company under 50. In the United States, there's similar pressures. So, of course, when you tell people if you don't hire more people, you hire more people will hurt you, they'll hire less people.
And now there's a part-time provision. You don't have to provide health care for part-time. Do you think a lot of Americans went from full-time to part-time and now have to pay for their own health
Both
care?
anecdotally we know that, and in terms of the statistics, we know that there's been more part-time work, more unemployment, more people not working. The percentage of the American population that's in the workforce looking for work has fallen because people have actually said, I'm not looking anymore. I don't mean a 75-year-old guy who retired. I mean people 30, 40, and 50 years old say, I'm not looking anymore. That takes you out of the workforce, and the workforce participation rate, if it was at usual levels, our unemployment would show up at 10.7%. But only because people have quit looking does the unemployment rate look still awful, but not as high as 10.8%.
Do you think that was deliberate or just foolish on their part as far as putting downward pressure on employment?
Both. Some people in the administration knew the costs. Some people didn't know and couldn't be bothered. So some of them knew, some of them didn't know, didn't care.
Now, a lot of people are upset because they can't keep their doctor and they were told to.
Yep.
At what point in time do you think Obama knew that you couldn't keep your doctor? And is there any way to put this kind of mandate on the system and expect that you can keep everything the way it was, but change everything at the same time?
We know that from internal documents and people talking that Obama's top lieutenants sat around in the room and said, of course people are going to be forced out of their health care and not keep their own doctors, and yet we're telling them they can't. Can we do that? Some people said that we shouldn't lie to the American people. The executive decision, which if I was the president, I would assume that I would make, not my deputies, was no, go ahead and lie. So clearly, with a divided group of advisors, some said let's lie, some said let's